So it's that time again of year when I plant the potatoes in the pots. I'm just at the grandparents' greenhouse. First earlies here, foremost, they're going to go in today. I've got my compost, Rav sieve from last year's grow bags. I incorporate that into some of the Wicks multi-purpose stuff what I buy. And I'll also be adding a bit of fertiliser, a bit of bloodfish and bone, and a few chicken manure pellets to this particular mix. So I'll get set up and show you how I get on. To start with then, I'm just going to put 2 inches of the sieved grow bag compost I've got in there. And basically that just performs a bit of a bed for the potatoes which will sit on. So I'll just show you these 4 because then I'll do my others at another time, and then I'm not boring you with the video as such. So anyway, I like to keep a couple of chits on only. Like I said in the last video, the less chits you produce, the less stems will be, so hopefully there'll be bigger potatoes. So anyway, here goes. And all I'll do, I'm going to put, these are 10 litre pots, and I think I'm going to put, if it's a big one like this, I'll put 1 in. If they're a bit smaller, then I'll put 2 in. I can't see it point in wasting space, compost and fertiliser, etc. when you can get a couple in. But that said, the equivalent of those, some of those on there are about golf ball size, that one's a lot bigger, so you know, if you do a bit of the math, then it'll probably still hopefully get the same similar sort of yield, all being well. Right then, so as this is a big one, I'll just put this 1 in, and basically what I do, just sit it in, just gently just rock it in like that, so it just sits in. And now I'm going to use the same compost, and I'm just going to cover the top over, just so it covers the top of a potato. That's covered up now, and it takes it to roughly approximately halfway up the 10 litre pot. Next thing I'm going to do now is top the whole pot right up to probably the rim there, which is about 1 inch just short of the top, with the fresh multi-purpose compost from Wicks what I use. You've probably seen in a couple of videos just there. It's quite good, so I'm using it for this. It's quite a decent compost actually. There's not really a lot of rubbish in there, but it doesn't matter with potatoes as such. You don't have to be that fine and precious. So I'll just get this topped up then, and I'll be back with you shortly. Now this has been topped up, I'm going to add the fertiliser. And the first bit of fertiliser I'm going to use are these chicken manure pellets here. I've got a small pot there, it's probably about an handful, and basically all I'm going to do is scatter them all over the top like so. Probably use about half, just keep them to one side, and just start to work that into the soil a bit. You don't want to go down as deep as touching the potato, because you don't really want the fertiliser to touch the potato. But what happens is, as the potato grows up, it'll then hit the layer of fertiliser and start working and acting like it should. Again, choose a rest. I'd wear gloves normally, but I like to get my hands in, get it all mixed up good. So that sits in the top half there. Next I'm going to add a little bit of bloodfish and bone, not too much, probably about half of them, one of them ambrosia tubs or a yoghurt pot. Just scatter that over, like so, and again just work that right in. So work it right in, get right in, obviously don't try not to touch the potato if you can. Like I say, you don't want fertiliser touching that, well I don't anyway, I don't usually do it. And then just to finish, I'm just going to top that up with compost, and then that should do it. Give it a very good watering in, and then I'm going to sit these in the greenhouse until the weather gets better, and then I'll put them out probably in about, what, 3 or 4 weeks time into the final positioning where they're going to sit, and then hopefully I'll just let the weather and nature take its course, and then hopefully should be harvesting some in about mid to late July, first batch. And that's how I do my potatoes in the pots. There we go, all finished then. 10 pots, 10 litre pots of foremost new potatoes, first earlies. I decided to stick 2 in some of the pots and then 3 if there were small ones in the end, because if I just kept going at 1 a pot, then I'll soon run out of pots and just wasting compost. So I'll still get some really good harvest from these hopefully, so time will tell. Right, next I'm just off down to the allotment to sort the carrot box out, and I'll bring you footage of me filling the holes and sowing the seeds. I've just got down to the greenhouse now, and the compost is sieved ready to go in the holes. So what I've done is I've got a couple of pots and I've made a bit of a funnel there. Just drop it in and it just sits in nice, and then all your soil can just be put into there like so. I've got a bit of a jug here which has got the soil mix in. All it is that Wix multi-purpose stuff. I've not added anything into it, no extra fertilisers or nutrients or anything. I've messed about over the years adding different bits and little recipes, and it's not really had better results or effect rather than just the bog standard multi-purpose, which has been finely sieved, so it's pointless me adding bits and pieces. So anyway, I'm going to crack on with the rest of these and I'll be back with you very shortly with the end results. The boxes are all filled up now with the sand, and the holes are now filled in with the compost. So I've done a bit of an experiment this year. As I mentioned previously, it's all sieved multi-purpose compost, and in this box here is the Wix compost I use, and in this one here for these 20 I'm using that Jack's Magic multi-purpose compost. It's quite fine, really good. There's hardly any rubbish in it when you sieve it, so I thought I'd give that a go and have a bit of a trial between myself. I'm all set ready to do the seed sowing now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 indentations fairly central in each of the cord holes like this, and basically that'll enable me to plant, or sow should I say, 1 carrot seed in each indentation, so 3 per hole, and then I'll obviously weed them out to the strongest, and then by in about 4 weeks time I'll have 1 which I'll just let on grow, and then obviously in September. The stump carrots and the variety is always a sweet candle. I've used this for a few years now, it's probably my 5th year, and a lot of the growers use it, which you might see on the YouTubers as well. It's a tried and trusted variety, it works very well for me, and I had the best results of carrots that I've ever had last year. It did really well for me in the shows as well, and not only that, they're still a good eater. I picked my last one in December, so it still tasted great, no carrot fly damage or anything, so it's fantastic. So that's it for these bits here. I'll just go and get the seeds and I'll be back. Here we go then, as you can see I've put a seed in each of the stations like so. So now what I'm going to do is just put a nice covering over and just cover the seeds gently. I'll do the same for that as well in the meantime. But that is this year's 2018 stump carrots.